health workforce to deliver quality health services or non-clinical health workforce needed for the Africa we want to be able to locally manufacture it, what the continent need for having a healthy population and having the African health systems that care about Africans, led by Africans. Overall, this conference is expected also to help future Africa CDC mission to strengthen Africa public health institutions and the capacities and capabilities and partnership to prevent, detect, and respond quickly and effectively to disease threats based on science, using evidence-based policies and strategies with data-driven interventions and programs. To make this a reality, Dr. Senite, my dear friend, and myself will work closely with the scientific and logistic committee set up by Africa CDC and the Rwanda Ministry of Health. In addition to prepare the platform for abstract submission, high-level panel, and side events, this committee set up by Africa CDC and the Ministry of Health under the supervision of those two estimate institutions will ensure the provision of also practical steps to address the health challenges faced by our continent. I, along with my co-chair and colleague at the Rwandan Ministry of Health at the CDC Africa, look forward to welcome you, all of you, to Rwanda in December 2022 to exchange ideas and take stock of where we stand for the new public health order we want to build in Africa and imagine a future with better health outcome for our people and our continent. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much. That was Professor Agnes Binagwaho speaking to us. We move on to our next guest, who is Professor Senayet Fiseha. Again, I've already introduced you to her, so I will leave this time for her to give us her briefing. Prof, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Your Excellency, the Deputy Chairperson of Africa CDC, Dr. Ahmed, members of the AU Africa CDC team, my esteemed co-chair, Professor Agnes Binagwaho, the government of Rwanda, other member states, members of the press and media, colleagues, all protocols observed, and good morning to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for your insightful remarks at the beginning about the status of COVID in Africa, and this is the very reason why this conference is extremely important. As I said earlier today at our launch of the conference with the government of Rwanda and the Ministry of Health, I deeply appreciate the leadership of Africa CDC and the commitment to boldly reimagining our continental future and for building resilient health systems and institutions. I will say brief few points about what the inaugural conference has meant for Africa and global health as a whole, and my hopes for what it can be in the future. The focus of the inaugural conference, the first of its kind, was to address long-standing health challenges on the continent, including vaccine inequity and manufacturing capacity, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and the need to build resilient health systems. As we mentioned earlier, Professor Binagwaho talked about that. The upcoming one will focus on post-pandemic recovery and preparedness as our continent navigates the way forward in a rapidly changing world. The pandemic, as we repeatedly highlighted during the conference and since, has revealed the disparities and deep inequities in global health. But as Dr. Ahmed earlier said, it has also showed us that Africa is far more capable of stepping up to solve its own problems and boldly shape its healthcare future than it is given credit for. This knowledge and insight should fuel everything we want to do with this platform and conference and any of our other regional efforts. So what is the value of this platform? The 2021 event brought together over 12,000 public health stakeholders. That is a very impressive reach. And I'm certain this number will continue to grow. We also had the opportunity to hear the latest learnings and research outcomes from COVID-19 pandemic and recommendations for how we can be better prepared for future health crises. And this came from the over 200 African policymakers, scientists, public health experts, data experts, international partners, and civil society representatives. It became the much needed space for discovery, debate, and forging of a partnership based on science, research, data, and innovation for our continent. So the upcoming conference is our opportunity to further hone and solidify this platform as an esteemed space for regional research, innovation, and convening, and really conceiving and realizing creative solutions to our challenges and build sustainable health systems. Our continent is full of resources, talent, and inspiration. We all are witnessing as to what is possible when one of us is given an opportunity to thrive. It is really up to us to ensure young professionals, experienced researchers, and scientists in our midst get the platform and support system and confidence of their leadership and institutions behind them. And there is so much to learn from many African countries. It is so fitting the next conference is going to be in Rwanda, a country whose COVID-19 response has been one of the best examples, not just for the continent, but frankly for the world. The timely response, clarity, and how human life, even a single one, was always central and paramount concern is exemplary and is an impressive achievement. And that is why I believe, even if we ignore the many other compelling factors, this is why that's the perfect venue for our next conference. So to conclude, the inaugural conference showed the world that Africa is shaping its own destiny and creating spaces to tap into the immense potential of its people. This will have a seismic impact into how global health institutions and other nations engage with Africa and its regional platforms. And we should keep forging ahead in the direction and always make this new reality clear with each iteration of the conference and all other efforts to build Africa's new public health order. Thank you very much. And I, along my co-chair, the scientific committee, and the local committee, along with the government of Rwanda and Africa CDC, look forward to working with you. Thank you. And back to you, moderator.
Thank you very much. That was Professor Senait Fiseha. Now, between the three of our panelists today, we've had a global look at the situation of COVID-19, and we've also heard progress that is being made under the Conference of Public Health in Africa. So now it is the time for you to put forward your questions. As usual, please use our WhatsApp number, which is +251 94 550 2310, or come through live as well as through the question and answer section. I see that we already have a number of questions coming through. When we ask you to put forward your question, please just and then proceed. So today, let us start with Colleague,
new for these countries, or have they seen these high COVID-19 death rates in the past? And do you think that the drought in the Horn of Africa is or could make managing COVID cases more difficult? And sorry, just last one is, do you have any updates on Aspen's production of COVID-19 vaccines and their plans to close that production line? Thank you so much.
please proceed, Dr. Ahmed.
No, thank you, Wayne, and thank you, Sarah, for always asking the most difficult questions. Let's start with the high case fatality rate in the Horn of Africa, particularly. We do not have at the moment very clear evidence why it is high, so we cannot begin to link it to the drought. But the two things that this high fatality rate tells us is that one, there is need to strengthen the health system there. Case fatality rate by and large is because the healthcare system is not handling the cases quick enough, identifying them, handling them efficiently enough for us to be able to avoid those rates. But we cannot be able at this time to link it directly with the drought. But the situation of the drought for sure does provide more challenges for healthcare in general, and particularly for those who may need critical care. In as far as Aspen in South Africa is concerned, we have said from at the very beginning of the conversation on local production that market is the key to ensuring that we have a thriving local production, manufacturing enterprise. As we speak today, the way that the purchase of particularly vaccines is structured, it weighs its and producers, because those who are purchasing these vaccines are few, and the channels for opening up the purchasing capacity to come to Africa are also not broadly, if you want, shared with African producers. In this way, our message is that we need to have all those who are purchasing vaccines for the global, at the global level for African countries. They need to purchase those from African producers first, and then they can be able to go to non-African producers after. This is our ambition, this is our commitment, and this is the principle that we are pushing very hard, so that manufacturers like Aspen do not get to a situation where they would have to close. We hope it doesn't come to that. We are doing everything we can in the background to try and get those vaccines to be purchased, particularly for the African market. Thank you.
All right, thank you. James Chege-Macharia of Reuters has a very similar question to the one that you've just answered, but let me just give you what he says to see if you have any extra comment on that. So he says, South Africa's pharmaceutical company, Aspen, the executives of that company have said that all global multilateral organizations had indicated last year that they needed a regional Africa-based manufacturer. But now these organizations are not helping Aspen to get any orders, and the plant is producing below its capacity. And he's asking for your comment on that.
No, thanks, Wayne, and thanks, James. Very similar. I would only add one thing to what I've already said, and that is, it is our responsibility, those of us who have this information, to share it as broadly as possible, because not just Aspen, but all the other manufacturing facilities we are developing on the continent, whether it is in Senegal, whether it is in Kenya, whether it is in Rwanda, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, all those will require their products to be bought. We have a market in Africa. Those who are purchasing for Africa must change the way in which they purchase these vaccines, so that our African producers are fast on the line to have their products being bought. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. The following three questions are also directed to you, and they're coming from Janice Q, who is with Bloomberg. So Janice says, you talked about most of the countries experiencing a fifth wave, having a more severe wave, that is the fifth wave. How does the Africa CDC define severe? Is that by sheer number of cases, or is there another measure of severe? And before you answer that question, I've just seen a message that's coming through from one of our panelists, who is Professor Senayet, and she has to leave. So